Hey there, ready to swap that desk for some open fields and dive into a career as a pesticide sprayer? Don't let the title fool you. It's more than just pointing and spraying. We've got a stack of guides and insets from RoleCatcher here, ready to break down everything you need to know.
You're absolutely right. It's a fascinating blend of science and hands-on skill. It's like imagine being a guardian of green spaces, but instead of a cape, you've got a high-tech sprayer and a deep knowledge of pest control solutions.
Okay, let's unpack this. So we're talking about mixing and applying chemical solutions to protect plants from pests and diseases, right? But the RoleCatcher guide stresses the why behind the how. You need to know which solution works best for each pest or disease and understand the potential impact of those chemicals. Talk about responsibility.
It's a big responsibility for sure. You're dealing with substances that demand respect, so safety and precision are paramount. It's not just about spraying, it's about calibrating equipment, understanding application rates, and being aware of factors like wind and weather conditions.
And it's not a static field either. The guide mentions a big push towards sustainability with advancements like GPS-guided sprayers. Can you imagine that? It's like high-tech farming.
It's incredible how technology is transforming this field. Those GPS systems help ensure precise application, minimizing waste and reducing the environmental impact. And speaking of minimizing impact, have you heard of integrated pest management or IPM?
IPM. Refresh my memory and rings a bell, but
It's a more holistic approach to pest control. Instead of relying solely on pesticides, it emphasizes a combination of methods. Think biological controls, like introducing beneficial insects that prey on pests, or cultural controls, like choosing plant varieties that are naturally resistant to certain pests.
right. So it's like a multi-pronged approach working with nature instead of always against it. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly, and that's where the science part of this career really comes into play. You need to understand the life cycles of pests, their interactions with plants, and how to manage their populations effectively while minimizing harm.
So you're not just a sprayer, you're a bit of an eco-detective too, right? Figuring out the best way to tackle those pesky invaders. But let's talk career paths. What does the journey to becoming a pesticide sprayer actually look like? Do you need a degree in like plant science or something?
It's actually more accessible than you might think. While some employers prefer a high school diploma, many focus on practical experience and on-the-job training. You can start with the basics, mixing solutions, operating equipment, and of course those all-important safety protocols, and work your way up.
Okay, so you're diving right in, getting your hands dirty, literally. What kind of tasks can you expect as an entry-level pesticide sprayer? Is it mostly following instructions, or is there room for independent thinking early on?
At the entry level, you're building a strong foundation. This includes mixing chemicals according to strict instructions, because accuracy is crucial learning to operate different types of spraying equipment and, of course, becoming a pro at those safety procedures.
Safety first, always, especially when you're dealing with potent chemicals. What kind of training is involved?
Safety is non-negotiable in this field. You'll receive comprehensive training on handling chemicals responsibly using personal protective equipment. Think respirators, gloves the works, and following strict guidelines to minimize any environmental impact.
So it's about protecting yourself, the environment, and ensuring those plants thrive. It's a delicate balance. But what happens when you're ready to level up? What does the path to becoming a more experienced pesticide sprayer look like?
As you gain experience, you move from simply executing tasks to understanding the why behind them. You might start troubleshooting equipment issues, assisting in training new team members, or even keeping meticulous records of pesticide usage and application, essential for compliance and tracking effectiveness.
Okay, so you become more than just a technician. You start taking on more responsibility, maybe even a leadership role. That's pretty cool.
It is. And as you continue to hone your skills, you might find yourself developing customized pesticide application plans. This involves analyzing pest infestations, considering environmental factors, and tailoring your approach to each specific situation. You become a problem solver, a strategist in the battle against pests.
That sounds intellectually stimulating. I bet it appeals to people who like working with their hands but also enjoy a good mental challenge. You're outdoors, but you're also using your knowledge of biology, chemistry, and even a bit of strategy.
You've hit the nail on the head. And for those who are driven, there are plenty of opportunities to climb the ladder even further.
Oh, like what kind of advancement possibilities are we talking about here?
Well, you could move into a supervisory role, managing a team of pesticide sprayers and overseeing larger projects. Or you could choose to specialize in a particular type of pest control. Maybe you're passionate about protecting trees, or perhaps you're drawn to the challenges of agricultural pest management. Some even branch out and start their own businesses.
So there's definitely room to grow and carve out your niche in this field. That's good to know. But let's shift gears a bit and
Yeah.
talk about the job search itself. You've decided this is the career for you. What's next?
That's where tools like RoleCatcher become incredibly valuable. They offer a wealth of resources specifically designed to help you navigate the job market. For instance, they've got tips on crafting a standout resume, which is crucial for making a strong first impression.
Okay, let's say you're building that resume. What are some of the key skills or experiences you should highlight to impress potential employers in the pesticide application world?
First and foremost, demonstrate your understanding of different types of pesticides. It's not enough to just say you're comfortable handling chemicals. You need to show them you understand the science behind these solutions. For example, you could mention your knowledge of insecticides, which target the nervous systems of insects, or fungicides, which disrupt fungal growth.
It's like knowing the enemy's weaknesses, right? You're not just randomly spraying stuff. You understand how these chemicals work on a deeper level.
Exactly. And don't forget to showcase your experience with the equipment. Employers want to know you can handle anything from backpack sprayers to those high-tech GPS-guided systems. Mention any experience you have with calibration maintenance or troubleshooting.
Right. It's about showing them you're comfortable with the tools of the trade, whether it's a simple hand pump or a computerized system. What else? Is there anything beyond the technical stuff that can make a resume stand out?
Absolutely. Soft skills are often overlooked, but they're crucial. Highlight your communication and interpersonal skills. Remember, you'll be interacting with clients, supervisors, and maybe even the public. Being able to explain things clearly and address concerns is essential.
It's about being approachable and professional, especially when you're dealing with something as potentially sensitive as pesticide use.
Precisely. Now, many employers, especially larger companies or those in specialized fields, might require a pesticide applicator certification.
Right, that certification was mentioned in the RoleCatcher guide. It's like a stamp of approval showing, your stuff right.
Exactly. It demonstrates a solid understanding of pesticide use safety protocols and environmental regulations. It usually involves passing an exam that covers topics like application techniques, potential hazards, and emergency procedures.
So it's not just about knowing how to spray, it's about doing so responsibly and understanding the bigger picture.
Precisely. The specific requirements can vary depending on where you live, so it's always a good idea to check with your local agricultural agencies for the details.
Good to know. So you've aced the certification, your resume is looking sharp, and you've landed an interview. Now the pressure is on. What are some common interview questions for pesticide sprayer jobs, and how can you really nail those answers?
One of the most common questions is, can you describe your experience with pesticide application equipment? Enforced. They want to hear specifics, not just vague statements. Talk about the types of equipment you've used, the brands you're familiar with, and even specific tasks you've performed like calibration or troubleshooting.
So it's about showcasing your hands-on experience and showing them you've actually walked the walk, not just talked the talk.
Exactly. They might also ask, how do you prioritize safety when applying pesticides? This is your chance to shine. Demonstrate your knowledge of protocols, your commitment to using protective gear, and your understanding of environmental risks.
Safety first, always. I bet a real-life example could really drive that point home, like maybe a time you had to adapt your approach due to unexpected weather conditions or a sensitive environment.
Absolutely. Anecdotes make your answers memorable and show them you can handle real-world situations. Another question to be prepared for is, can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a problem with a pesticide application?
Because things don't always go according to plan, even for the most experienced professionals.
Exactly. Have a story ready to share about a time when you faced a challenge, maybe a clogged nozzle, a sudden downpour, or an unexpected pest infestation. Explain how you used your problem-solving skills to find a solution, emphasizing your ability to think on your feet.
Resourcefulness under pressure, that's a valuable skill in any profession. What other curveballs might they throw your way?
Be prepared to discuss how you stay up to date with industry trends and regulations. They want to know you're committed to continuous learning. Mention if you subscribe to industry publications, attend conferences, or follow relevant online forums.
It's like subscribing to those fashion magazines, but for pesticide enthusiasts, you want to be in the know about the latest and greatest advancements.
You got it. And speaking of advancements, don't be surprised if they ask about your experience with integrated pest management or IPM.
Right, we talked about IPM earlier. It's that more holistic, eco-conscious approach to pest control.
Exactly. If you have any experience with IPM techniques like using beneficial insects or implementing cultural controls, Highlight those. It demonstrates your commitment to environmentally sound practices, which is a big deal these days.
It shows them you're not just about spraying chemicals, you're thinking about the long-term health of the ecosystem. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the potential risks associated with pesticide use. How do you handle that topic in an interview?
It's important to acknowledge the concerns while emphasizing your commitment to responsible application. Explain that you understand the potential risks and always prioritize safety and environmental protection.
It's about finding that balance between effective pest control and minimizing any negative impacts.
Exactly. You could even mention specific steps you take, like carefully reading product labels, following mixing instructions precisely, and disposing of waste properly.
It's about showing them that you're not just a technician, you're a responsible professional who takes their impact on the environment seriously.
Precisely. And finally, be prepared to discuss your experience with record keeping and reporting.
Ah, yes, documentation. Not the most glamorous part of any job, but definitely important.
It's essential. Explain that you understand the importance of accurately documenting pesticide usage application dates, weather conditions, and any observations you make.
It's about transparency, accountability, and ensuring that everything is done by the book.
Exactly. Now let's say you've aced the interview. Congrats. You're officially a pesticide sprayer. What can you expect in those first few months on the job?
Right. What's it actually like to be a pesticide sprayer in the field?
Well, the initial period is all about getting acclimated to your company's specific protocols and procedures. You might receive hands-on training on their equipment, shadow more experienced colleagues, or even participate in formal training programs.
So it's like a blend of hands-on learning and structured training tailored to the company's way of doing things. Sounds like a great way to get up to speed quickly.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Observe your colleagues and really absorb all that information. Those early months are crucial for building a strong foundation.
It's like being a sponge, soaking up all that knowledge and experience. But once you're past that initial training phase, what does a typical day look like for a pesticide sprayer?
Well, no 2 days are exactly alike, but there are definitely some core tasks that you'll encounter regularly. One of the most fundamental is, of course, mixing those pesticide solutions.
Right back to the lab. It's like chemistry class, but with much higher stakes.
Exactly. You'll be following precise instructions, carefully measuring and combining chemicals to create the right solution for each specific job, always prioritizing accuracy and safety.
So attention to detail is key. One wrong move, and you could end up with an ineffective solution, or worse, a safety hazard.
Absolutely. Precision is paramount when you're handling these substances. And once you've got your solution mixed, it's time to load up the equipment and head out to the field.
Time for action. I bet that's where the real adrenaline kicks in.
You could say that. You might be operating anything from a backpack sprayer to a truck-mounted sprayer, depending on the size of the area you're treating.
Talk about variety. One day you're navigating a residential lawn, the next you're tackling a sprawling golf course. What are some of the challenges you face out in the field?
Well, weather is a big one. Wind, rain, even extreme temperatures can all impact the effectiveness of pesticide applications, so you need to be adaptable and adjust your approach as needed. And then there's the terrain itself. Navigating hills, obstacles, and different types of vegetation can be physically demanding.
So it's not just a desk job. You need to be physically fit and able to handle the elements. It's like being an outdoor athlete in a way.
I like that analogy. It does require a certain level of fitness and stamina to handle those long days on your feet, often in challenging conditions. But it's not all about physical strength. You also need mental agility to troubleshoot problems, make on-the-fly decisions, and adapt to unexpected situations.
Right, because nature throws curveballs sometimes. A sudden shift in the wind, an unexpected pest infestation you need to be able to think on your feet and adjust your approach.
Exactly. And throughout it all, you're responsible for keeping meticulous records. You'll be documenting everything from the specific pesticides used and the application rates to weather conditions and any observations you make about pest activity.
It's about creating a detailed history of your work, which is crucial for tracking results, ensuring compliance with regulations, and even improving future pest control strategies.
You got it. Now, beyond those core tasks, the beauty of this career is the sheer variety it offers. You might find yourself specializing in a particular niche, like turf management, tree care, or even aquatic pest control.
Wow, I never even considered aquatic pest control. What kind of pests are we talking about there?
Think algae blooms, invasive aquatic plants, even mosquitoes breeding in standing water. It's all about protecting those delicate aquatic ecosystems.
That's fascinating. Just goes to show there's a whole world of pest control out there with opportunities to suit every interest.
Absolutely. And as you gain experience, you might even consider moving into research or education, contributing to the development of new pest control solutions, or training the next generation of pesticide sprayers.
So it's a career path with multiple branches. You can start with the basics and then really tailor it to your strengths and interests as you progress.
Precisely. And speaking of interests, one of the most rewarding aspects of this career is the opportunity to work outdoors and connect with nature.
Right. Fresh air, sunshine, maybe even the occasional bird song while you work. That's a pretty sweet perk.
It certainly beats a stuffy office.
Hmm.
And beyond the aesthetic appeal, there's a deeper satisfaction that comes from knowing you're playing a vital role in protecting our food supply, preserving green spaces, and safeguarding public health.
It's about making a tangible difference in the world, which I imagine is incredibly fulfilling.
Absolutely. Now, we've covered a lot of ground today, but I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. As a pesticide sprayer, you're not just working with chemicals, you're working with people too.
That's an important reminder. It's easy to get caught up in the technical aspects of the job, but at the end of the day, it's all about people.
Exactly. Whether it's educating a homeowner about their pest control options, addressing the concerns of a business owner, or collaborating with colleagues, strong communication skills are essential.
So it's not just about knowing your pesticides, it's about knowing how to connect with people, build trust, and communicate effectively.
Precisely. Because ultimately, the most successful pesticide sprayers are those who can bridge the gap between science and society, promoting responsible pest control practices while addressing the needs and concerns of the communities they serve.
That's a powerful message. It's about being more than just a technician. It's about being an advocate, an educator, a guardian of both our green spaces and the people who enjoy them.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, on that inspiring note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of pesticide sprayers. We hope you found this journey insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
We've only just scratched the surface, but hopefully it sparked your curiosity and encouraged you to explore this dynamic and rewarding career path further.
And remember, whether you're considering a career change or just fascinated by the world around us, there's always something new to discover on the deep dive. Until next time, keep those questions coming and keep exploring.